Good morning, everyone. This is Nafi. Hope everyone enjoys this cold weather and stay warm and safe. I'll kick us off today. Let's get started with a few housekeeping notes. To help this meeting run smoothly, please mute your mic. Whenever it's possible, please direct your questions to the chat box. We will monitor chat box and make time to address questions. However, if you prefer to ask your question verbally, please wait until the designated question slides after each session. We will be tracking attendance. This meeting is required for all contractors to attend, so please listen up toward the end of the meeting, and we will give you a cue to sign in with your name and your company name in the chat box. This is how we record that you were present and get you moving along your registration process. All right, a few notes about wait times right now. We are currently at about 3 weeks from the time you submit the application till LOI. Inspection are 3 weeks wait time, and final documentation review, comment, the final payment to your customer is about 3 weeks as well. This meeting is recorded and will be shared with you after the meeting. All right, there is a chat box in the bottom of your screen, and you can see here in blue. So feel free to type in your questions and be careful to whom you're addressing your questions. It usually goes to everyone unless you change the setting to a specific individual. Throughout the program, we will have slides available to have us stop and allow for verbally ask questions as well. All right, some upcoming meetings. Well, all contractors, whether you are trying to get on the list or already on the list, are required to attend our general quarterly meeting. If this is your first time that you are attending, then you will be required to attend the technical training meeting as well. That is scheduled for Thursday, February 17, and is mandatory for new contractors to get on the list, and is highly recommended for any new technical staff you may have, whether they are the master electricians or journeymen, and etc. We do recommend those folks to attend the technical training as is a source of information and code updates. The next administrative meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 17. That is mandatory for all new contractors to get on the list, and if you hire new employees that are likely to be processing applications or using the ECP to submit application, we really recommend they attend the administrative meeting. And finally, the next general meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 21st. Sorry. The shared solar multifamily QA will be announced as soon as we get the budget approved. And as I mentioned earlier, we record and send out the slides for all of these meetings for your reference. Here's the link to the latest administrative and technical training meetings on our YouTube channel. Feel free to share them with your team, especially the new employees who are likely to work with ECP and process applications, and the technical staff in your team. All right, I'll pass the mic to David.
All right, thank you, Nafi. All right, we'll go ahead here into the announcements section. We got a few for you. First off, so a COVID safety update. As you all know, we are currently in stage 5, the highest level stage of COVID restrictions in Austin. So we have this reminder chart here that comes from the city, from Austin Public Health, just reminding you of the precautions to take depending on vaccination status, given the stage that we're in currently. As far as this impacts inspections, so we still highly encourage those who attend to, wear masks and maintain social distancing protocols. If you're not vaccinated, please continue to wear a mask, when you're out and about at these inspections as well. So while we are in stage 5 currently, we will not be requiring contractors' attendance at final inspections. You can still certainly, attend if you like. It may end up leading to a smoother pass of your inspection. Attending the inspections also means you'll be able to potentially make some small repairs that the contractors allow, if they identify any deficiencies on site. So it can be the difference between a pass and a fail, but we will not require your attendance while we are in stage 5 due to the health and safety protocols that we're trying to follow here. So if you do not wish to attend an inspection, or you absolutely cannot attend for that or a different reason, please make sure to notify us in advance, preferably at least 24 hours in advance. If we don't receive advance notice from you that you will not be attending an inspection, and then you do not show up, that inspection will be failed rather than canceled. But if you do notify us, sufficiently in advance, then we will cancel the inspection or proceed with just the inspector there, depending on whether you want somebody to actually attend or not. So please reach out to Solar Inspections at austinenergy.com if you want to let us know that you won't be there or that you need to cancel.
Click the right thing.
I'm sorry? And just please remember to mute yourselves for this meeting unless you have a question, which you can pose in the chat as well. All right, Nafi, we'll go ahead to the next slide then.
Yeah, that's what I got from them.
All right, so a few reminders about inspections as well. So this, we're going to talk about pass rates. We had mentioned back in the last general meeting that we will start enforcing pass rates again for final inspections. So as written in our contractor handbook, if I'm not mistaken, contractors in our rebate program need to maintain a pass rate of at least 70%. This is applicable to all final inspections, whether rebated or non-rebated, that you're performing. So we will reinstate quarterly evaluations of inspection pass rates for all participating contractors. So we're in the process of reviewing the first period for October to December 2021. And so we will be sending out any notifications to contractors who have fallen below that rate for that 3-month period. Minimum 4 inspections. We realize that if it's a very small sample size of inspections that have been completed during a time period, that might not be the most accurate resemblance of your pass rate. So minimum 4 inspections, and if you're below 70% based off of that calculation, then you will receive a formal warning from our program. And if your pass rate does not then improve to 70% or above in the subsequent reviews, potentially may face grounds for suspension from the rebate program. So what is included in the pass rate calculation? So it applies to all final solar inspections. That includes inspections for projects that are not in the rebate program, but if you are a participating contractor in our program, those non-rebate inspections will count. And all solar and storage combination inspections are also counted here. ESS only, so battery only inspections will not be counted in this pass rate because those don't involve a solar inspection. All inspections failed due to a no-show. Those will also be included in the pass rate calculation. And then what is excluded from the pass rate calculation? Rough inspections, any back-end meter inspections, those will not be included either. So it's just strictly all final inspections that involve solar. That will be the basis of the pass rate calculation. And
Can I step in
that,
here?
a
Sorry,
reminder
David, can
that-
you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Tim Harvey. I just wanted to speak to this a little bit. So I've gotten some feedback from the inspectors, and I want to just kind of address some issues that will help y'all lead to higher pass rates. First of all, it's best practice for sure to kind of arm your electricians with the inspection checklist, which is in the distribution interconnection guide. It's best practice if they show up early, get that system online, and make sure that they've went through that checklist. That's going to lead to a much higher pass rate. It's also going to afford more time for minor adjustments if they're needed, so that you don't have to do a reinspection. I'm sure that my inspectors would very much appreciate due diligence, and so will your customers, as they'll be more likely to pass. So just wanted to throw that out there. Also wanted to mention that while our inspection time is kind of creeped up to 3 weeks, we are bringing on a new inspector on the 30th. His name is Robert Connor. So, if you see him out there, he'll be training in at first, but, welcome him to the team. And we're really excited to have Robert, because he's a longtime inspector for the city on the for electrical inspections. And so he's coming with quite a bit of experience. So just wanted to throw all that out there and, give you guys some ideas on how to improve pass rates. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Always good reminders there. So yeah, one last note from this slide too. So as far as re-inspections are concerned, so currently there's a re-inspection fee that's being charged from the second re-inspection onward. But when our new version of the permit portal rolls out, probably sometime later this year, they're still working on it at the moment. But when the new version of the permit portal rolls out, there will be a new $75 fee for all re-inspections. So that includes the first re-inspection. So just be prepared to see that moving forward. Just a general reminder that if you do have a re-inspection fee owed on your auxiliary power permit, that should be paid off before you request your re-inspection. Otherwise, if we come out and pass that inspection, we won't be able to set your customer's meter until that unpaid fee is paid off. So you've probably some of you may get some emails from us from time to time with those reminders. All right, Nathi, we'll move on to the next slide. A few other reminders about inspections, and a lot of this has to deal with just Smartsheet inspection request processes. But first thing, and this is particularly important, I realize that nowadays the inspection request process is sort of a dual action type of process. So in EECP, if it's a rebate project, you need to close the installation step at the same time that you are submitting the inspection request form in Smartsheet. So when you go into EECP, into that enrollment, you want to access that installation workflow step, upload the invoice, and make any changes to the system measures if anything changed during the installation. And then you want to hit that process button on the information page, and that will close the installation step and kick off a post-inspection step that we can then use to pass your inspection after the inspectors have given it a pass. If that installation step is not closed, that delays the enrollment and delays our ability to pay out the rebate to customers later on. So please make sure that you're closing that step each time you submit an inspection request through the Smartsheet web form. As far as cancellations, we went over this a little bit on the last slide, but again, please notify solar inspections at austinenergy.com at least 24 hours in advance if you can. And remember that no shows without notice will equal a failed inspection. And that
can I speak to this too real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
If you need to, say you wake up and you're showing symptoms of COVID, and your inspection is that day, notify us, and we're not going to penalize you if, you know, for not showing, if you're showing symptoms or something like that, and, you know, your short notice is unavoidable. But please try to make every effort to notify us 24 hours in advance if possible.
Agreed. We realize emergencies on the day of do occur, so we're very mindful of those as well. As far as some other updates about or reminders about using Smartsheet and requesting inspections. So when you're submitting an inspection request, this is a reminder to please use the notes field in the request form if you need to indicate any dates or any particular days of the week that you're not available. Particularly for those of you that don't have a local presence in town, we realize there may be certain days that it's just not possible to get up to Austin. So in order to make things smoother and make it less likely you'll have to cancel an inspection due to lack of availability, just make sure that you put any sort of restrictions you have in those notes, and we'll try to schedule you accordingly. If you have a battery-only inspection, so for instance, if you're adding a battery to an existing solar system, or if you received a partial pass on a solar-only inspection previously because you were waiting on the battery to be installed, and now the battery is ready. So for those types of energy storage only inspections, when you submit the inspection request, enter a system size of 0 to let us know that solar is not being inspected as part of that inspection, and then enter the battery information in that inspection request, so the kilowatt hour capacity and the peak power. So that gives us the information we need to be prepared for that inspection. Note that customer name, I've been seeing a few, some inspection requests that have the names of your staff members listed as the customer, but a reminder that this should always be the actual Austin Energy customer's name who lives at that address, so not the name of the staff or electrician submitting the request. And when attending inspection, please make sure to bring hard copies of the prints as well as the auxiliary power permit, as well as copies of the electrician's license and tools to make repairs. These are things that we note in the technical meeting as well, but I just wanted to make a general reminder. The inspectors have asked me to remind everybody of this as well. And last reminder to please not request final inspection if you still have a service upgrade or repair permit still open. That work needs to be completed before we perform the final solar inspection. So any type of service work you need to perform in order to complete the solar installation, until that is fully inspected by the city inspectors and the permit is closed out in the portal, until that happens, we cannot perform or will not perform the final solar inspection. So I don't want to have to cancel too many more of those for y'all for those reasons. So just a reminder to please try to have those closed by the time you submit that request. That being said, I know that shutdowns for some of these service upgrades can be taking quite a while in parts of the city right now. So I realize that there are some scheduling constraints to work around, and you might be trying to time it out so that, you know, that'll get done by the time your inspection is scheduled. But we are generally able to schedule those solar inspections more quickly these days. So try to have those service permits closed if you can before you submit the request. All right, I think we'll go to the next slide. Yes, and so I'll have Micah jump in here and present the next couple of slides because he's got some general updates for you that will affect you.
Hey everybody, good morning. This is Micah. It's good to talk to you guys. So I'm working on the coalition agreement. So it's something that went into effect back somewhere around 2015 for the first time. And last year we renegotiated it and got some good updates out of it. But so what it is effectively a memorandum of understanding between Austin Energy and DSD. So DSD is the permitting department, Development Services Department. They do permitting and inspections for the city of Austin. And we are, of course, Austin Energy, the electrical department. So most of the time for projects around the city, DSD does the permitting and inspections. But as you guys know, for solar in Austin Energy territory, for solar, it's different. We do the inspections, our Customer Renewable Solutions group. So reason for that is because solar pushes back on the grid. It's grid interactive, and so it puts an important role onto Austin Energy's plate to make sure that the energy being pushed back onto the grid is safe and good for the grid. So that same rationale is there for energy storage as well. So these battery systems that are going in, they can also go back, push back across to the grid. So the coalition agreement lines out the responsibilities and understandings of who does what for inspections, and specifically limited to auxiliary power permits. So updates coming. So last year, the big update was the fee change. We got control of our own fees and made an effort over the next year to change the fees, which we did. This year, a little more ambitious. The first thing that's going to be new this year, and we're pending approvals. This hasn't been signed yet. We'll have more formal documentation to show you when it's all through approval. But the first thing will be that all battery storage, energy storage system inspections. So they would be permitted through auxiliary power, just like solar, and they'll be inspected through Customer Renewable Solutions, so through Rory and Stewart, just like solar. So while I know we've been doing that, and that's been our standard practice, it hasn't been coded, hasn't been documented officially, so it will be now. And the other big thing, which I'm really excited about, and I'm hoping is going to be helpful for everybody on this call, are a couple of flow charts and work instructions. So there's a flow chart that I'm helping to create for commercial and one for residential. And their flow charts, they have questions that kind of guide you through a solar battery project. They ask you questions about what jurisdiction you're in and about the scope of your project. And depending upon the answers to your questions, or what your scope and what your jurisdiction are, that will guide you to the permit or permits that you need and who's going to do those inspections. Accompanying the flow charts have boxes numbered 1 through whatever, right? Different steps. Accompanying those will be work instructions. So picture a Word file that has steps 1 through whatever. It's like 35 steps for commercial and 27 for residential, something like that. And so it has every step written out with instructions about where do you go to apply, what documents are required, why would you need a building permit for residential, things like that. So between the two documents, one for residential, one for commercial, so 4 total documents, I'm hoping that it'll give a lot of clarity as to what you should be doing in regards to permitting and inspections for your solar or battery projects. So a couple of jurisdictional and permit type things that get addressed with these flowcharts are Austin Energy versus non-Austin Energy. How do you handle permitting and inspections for solar or batteries outside of Austin Energy? Austin full purpose or limited purpose versus the ETJ versus non-Austin municipalities. So there's different procedures, slightly different procedures, depending on where you're at. And there's a map that we'll link to online. You can see what jurisdiction you're in. Solar, of course, batteries, ESS, of course, utility shutdown. So there's a lot of misunderstandings about what permit to pull for utility shutdowns. So if you're going to be doing work on the meter, the revenue meter, or on the utility side of the revenue meter, then you need to pull an upgrade electric permit, and that will require an ESPA, an ESPA, an electric service planning application. But if you're just doing work on the customer side of the revenue meter and you need a shutdown to install something just on the customer side, then you only need a repair permit and you don't need that ESPA. So these are the kind of clarifications we're going to help make with this documentation. That way, when you call us, you call DSD, you call whoever asking questions about where to go, what to do, we'll all be referring to the same documents and we'll all give you the same advice, hopefully. Finish it off, residential versus commercial, of course, building permits. So there are times in residential when you need building permits, a little bit rare, but it does happen. And then commercial, you need building permits a lot. DGPA review, so how do you, when is that going to happen? And then pre-wire for solar. So what are the procedures for if you're just putting pre-conduit in, but not actually installing solar now? You don't need a permit for solar. You just need a permit to put that pre-wire, pre-conduit in, which will then live in the wall or underground until a future customer decides they want to utilize it for solar. So that's what I got on this slide. Go to the next slide. Thank you very much. So one other quick update from me. As part of this, we're upgrading the DGPA. So as you guys know, the distributed generation planning application, and every project in Austin Energy territory for an auxiliary power permit for solar batteries, pre-wire, or synchronous generators, they require the DGPA to be filled out. So just some things that we're doing to just kind of make it a little more clear. Cleaning up the terminology, making sure everything matches, and then really focusing on helping to clear up this how you guys will know if you need to submit the DGPA for review or not. So making it super clear about, we're actually going to be looking at the inverter size, the AC output of the inverters for batteries or for solar, rather than what we've done in the past, which has been multiplying the DC rating times 0.83. I'm just going to use that inverter output rating. And then rather than it just being the new or the additional solar triggering that 50 kW threshold for review, it's actually the total solar at the premise, or sorry, total capacity at the premise, including batteries. So making some updates on the DGPA to provide some clarity to that. It still needs approval. So I see there was a Will and Mass email. Yeah, so we'll reach out with the new version of the DGPA. It still needs to be approved. I still need to work with the web team to get it up on the website. So there's still some work to do, but yes, once it's approved and posted, we'll let you guys know. Thank y'all. Passing this slide on to the next speaker.
I think Mary was going to take this one. So Mary, if you, oh yeah, you're unmuted. Go ahead. Mary, if you're talking, I can't hear you. What? Could anybody else hear Mary?
No.
No. Okay, I'm gonna talk in. Thanks, guys. Yeah, we will send out an email about the DGPA. There was a question in the chat about Micah's work. Yes, we're gonna send out an email when a new DGPA is available and show you all where the link is to that. So absolutely. And then this slide, we're switching gears a little bit because of, COVID situations. A lot of these meetings, maybe you haven't been to them in person before, but you can visit them online. And so we wanted to make sure that you knew what meetings that affect our solar industry and here in Austin, like what meetings happen and when they happen and how to join. Yeah, as participants in the solar industry, your voice matters. So we really encourage somebody from your company, even if you haven't been to some of these meetings before, it's a great way to stay up to date with things that may be coming down the line, changes, to energy related, including solar. We'll send this slide deck out to you afterwards. I hope that you'll come back to page 12 and get some of your coworkers to visit some of these meetings and keep up to date with what's going on. And Mary, if you have more you wanted to add there, I guess you can, you can chat people. I'm sorry. I know she probably had more informative stuff to say about these meetings. But yeah, we hope to see some of your names in the attendance there. Should we go to the next slide? We'll go to the next topic here. So our capacity-based incentive for the commercial solar program, you guys have blown us away. We're really excited about all of the interest in this program. The way that we had planned it out, we have these tiers, tiered rates that eventually tier down. So the current tier for this this program is $1 per watt for nonprofits and 60 cents per watt for systems that are under 75 kW AC. So we had planned that when we were approaching 3 megawatts of letters of intent, that we would be reevaluating the program. We thought that we would get there a little bit later, but you guys have surprised us with your interest. So we're excited about that. And we just want to give you guys a strong heads up that, we are kind of getting close to that threshold. So if your project has received an encumbrance, then you are, you're good to go. Just, we'll go through the process. And if you've submitted projects and they haven't received encumbrances yet, that puts you in danger when we do reach that cutoff point. That does put your project, it could get pushed to a separate tier. So, do stay on top of your applications there. And as you guys are out there selling projects and serving our smaller businesses and nonprofits, check in from time to time. We'll send out notices about what's going on. Next slide.
Sorry, no, wait just a second. Can we get back just for a second? Sorry, I just want to add to what Val noted here and a couple of things. One, I know that last Friday we did send out a communication letting you guys know where we were in this tier. And just to kind of underscore something that Val said, because I think this is really important and I would prefer for you guys to really understand it here than to be confused. But the encumbrance happens before an LOI, right? So just so everybody's clear, there is the encumbrance step. That's basically where we, as the Customer Renewable Solutions group, say, okay, all of your sort of paperwork is in order, and now we're ready to take it to the next level. And whether that requires going to council or not, we're basically saying, hey, your application is more or less in order. We still need your contract and your DGPA, but we are basically holding your place in line now, so you can go out and get that contract signed based on this incentive level. Just submitting your application does not hold your place in line. So you have to make sure that your application is complete and correct in order to get the encumbrance. Val has created an amazing system in this new EECP that I believe gives you ample communications about this matter. And it should also be noted that encumbrances do expire after 90 days. So be mindful of that. If you miss that boat, that those funds will no longer be encumbered for your project and will move to the next one in line. And this is only all very important because you guys have done such a great job selling solar out there and selling this program. It has outperformed our expectations by many orders of magnitude. But we, and we do want to make sure that, you and your customers are well informed and sort of, ready to move those projects forward in a timely manner. I also want to note that the cutoff for LOIs is still 120 days. Sorry, Val, keep me honest. I believe it's 120 days for existing construction and 365 days for new construction. If you are unable to get your project built in that period of time, your LOI will expire. So it just should be noted that just because you receive an LOI does not mean the project can sit in our queue for 2 years and still expect to receive the same incentive. So be mindful of that when you're talking to customers. We don't want to disappoint you guys or customers. We want to support the solar industry, but we obviously have constraints, due to like budgeting and city. Oh, thank you, Val. Yeah, the encumbrance. Yeah. So Val has put some notes in the chat about what exactly those deadlines are. They're also very clearly outlined in the guidelines. And if you have any questions, please email SolarApp. But note that just because you receive an LOI, if your project does not complete in the LOI time period, you are no longer guaranteed that incentive level. So I just want to make sure that's super clear to everybody. And with that, I will pass the mic back to Val, and we can go to questions.
Can I steal the mic real quick?
Sure, Tim.
Hey, this is Tim again. And for those of you who have projects that are set to go, through the commissions and to council, you may note that the December commissions meeting, in December, they didn't have commissions meetings, I should say. And then this meeting that was supposed to be on Tuesday was canceled because they didn't meet quorum. So it's my understanding that they're looking to spur up a special meeting so that we can consider some of these projects in that, but it will push all of these back to the February council agenda. So, if you have projects that you're tracking through the commissions and council, that's how that has landed so far. So we'll keep you posted. Just wanted to put that on y'all's radar.
That's a great shout out to the previous slide that listed listed when some of these meetings. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Tim. And thanks everybody for all your hard work in serving our nonprofits and small businesses. It's been really exciting. So yeah. This is a good, since that was a lot of important information, I want to pause here and see if anybody has questions regarding this. All right, let's go. Yeah, and here again are the meetings to join. Okay, yeah, if we're good on questions, yeah, but like the good kind of fire, Mary. Yeah. If we can go to the next section, I'll be talking a little bit about the quarterly customer survey results. So as your friendly neighborhood utility, we send surveys to the solar rebate program participants, and we ask them lots of questions. And in these next couple slides, we'll review some of their feedback. One of the ones that we look to first every quarter is customer satisfaction with time to energize. Obviously, the past year or two, there have been lots of, this has been more problematic than usual. We hit a low last quarter with 31% satisfaction, but it's trending up. So all of the hard work of our inspectors and y'all on, hopefully you guys are testing the system, testing the monitoring, being inspection ready, communicating with our inspectors. That's all paying off, and we will continue our best to follow the processes we've set out for ourselves, be consistent, and communicate with you all. Yeah, let's continue this trend like a phoenix. Let's go to the next slide, Nafi. Thank you. So this slide has more to do with customer reviews of our solar contractors. We've got improvements in all areas. These numbers generally trend pretty high, and they're looking even better. So you guys are getting a 2% bump in customers' review of prompt on-time service, a 10% increase in satisfaction about professional behavior. So whatever you guys are doing there, keep doing. And an 11% overall satisfaction with your contractor. So that's all good news, and it's great to see that sort of response, even as we're still struggling with pandemic-related things. So I want to take this moment to say thank you for doing a good job of serving our mutual customers. That makes us happy to support you. And let's go ahead down. Yep, thanks. So we also get lots of text feedback from them. It's not all multiple choice, and we select our favorite ones to share with you. Limit of 3. So we are seeing comments from our customers about you guys, such as meets schedule requirements, and attended to all my questions and concerns. That's a happy customer. Honest and straightforward salesperson, clear and timely communication, quick response times to questions. I love this one, and I love that it is about the communication. You know, sometimes things get delayed, but this situation, you know, might have been saved because at least the communication was timely. And then the installer was well informed, explained the system installations and schedule in detail, communicated at every step, performed the installation on time without a need to schedule follow-ups. Yeah, I think that the trend of this, and almost every quarter when we do this, the trend of happy customers is good communication from their solar contractors. So we saw lots of great comments. With that, I will pass the mic to Sarah. She's going to cover up our fiscal year, first quarter. We're just going to wrap up. Go ahead, Sarah.
All righty. So this will be extremely brief, and I think we're going to finish quite early today, so we'll give you guys some time back, but just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on where we are and our goals and our 2022 goals. So as with the last few years, our goals are to get 7 megawatts in residential, 5 in commercial, and the budgets have remained the same since last year. Please note that this budget does not include the CVI program for commercial. So that's, just note that. The other, and so that said, while we're on track for residential, we have about 22% enrolled currently, and that's generally, you know, it's about a quarter, so we'll take it. We have quite a few unincentivized projects out there, totaling 704 kilowatts. And then last but not least, while we only have 2% of commercial for this quarter, we do have almost 4 megawatts in the queue between the CVI and new PVI programs. So again, just want to really give you guys a big shout out. We are so blown away and so impressed by the great work that you've done selling commercial, and thrilled beyond belief about how popular that program has been. So yeah. So like I said, while we only have 2% of our goal installed this quarter, I do think that we are on track to be very close to hitting our commercial goal this year, possibly exceeding it. And so you guys are doing great. Everything looks like it's going on track, and we're really excited to continue to roll out some programs this year. And with that, I think that's kind of that's the last slide that we have of content. I want to open up the floor if there are any questions about any of the content we've discussed today. I apologize that we do not have better guidance on when we will have line of sight on the next steps of the multifamily program, but I do think that we should be able to advise on that by the end of the month. So I appreciate your patience with that. We just want to make sure that we're good and funded for it. So. Any questions, feel free to oh, sorry, I forgot about the contact slides. Thank you, Nafi.